The biggest talking points in the world of racing, with some of the biggest names in the game having their say. This is Track Talk on Bensley. Join the chat by texting through on 0499 736 736.
Yes, who do you think will win the Golden Eagle? Who wins the Victoria Derby or the Group 1s at Flemington? We'd love to get your thoughts. Don't be afraid of texting them through 0499 736 736. We're going to focus in on the Golden Eagle first up, and then we'll look at the Group 1 races at Flemington. Brad Gray from Racing New South Wales. Morning, Brad.
Yeah, good morning, Andrew, and to all the listeners. You're right. Cracking race, and let's get stuck in.
We've got a warm period here. It's going to be cooler on Saturday, but not a lot of rain, if anything. So this track will play as a good 4, maybe into a good 3.
Yeah, that's one of the keys when assessing this race and the entire Rosehill card, to be honest. The last time we, of course, raced it at Rosehill on a firm surface was Golden Rose Day, and that certainly suited those horses that were up towards the fence and on the speed. So I've done my form leaning that way, just thinking that it's going to be very hard to make it up a stack of ground.
And Dean Evans joins us from Winning Edge Investments. Treat betting like a business. Dean, good morning to you.
Good morning, Andrew. Good morning, Brad. Looking forward to an absolutely outstanding card of racing on Saturday.
Yeah, both places. It's just thrilling. The Golden Eagle at the moment, I'm Thunderstruck is the favourite at $4.20 at Bet365. A few of the others, Private Eye at $6.50, Apache Chase at $7.50, Ellsberg at $9.50, and they are the ones single figures. I mentioned Maximal. It's drifted in the market after getting to about $7 or $8. It's out to $13. We spoke to Alicia Collett, Brad, before our last news break, and she said it doesn't sound that bad when you say 18 of 18.
Maybe not. Maybe that's just the glass half full approach, isn't it? It does look nasty, though. Looking at this map, and I think it goes a long way to finding the winner, I think it looks relatively straightforward at the top end. You've got Vangelic, the likely leader. Apache Chase sits outside. Ellsberg follows in behind, and Love Tap and Count DeRupi next. But outside of that, maybe a horse like Asar makes a 3-wide running line. If that's the case, I think best case scenario, Maximal can find himself in that 3-wide running line. I guess if you're looking for a positive, it's the fact that he's an import. He needs plenty of room to wind up into his gallop, and if he does get a bit of cover somewhere in midfield, he might still get his chance. But it does look a little bit nasty.
It's interesting, Dean, when we talk about Maximal, dare we forget Annabelle Neesham. Rev Duval comes from international period, and barrier 7 for Brodie Loy. It makes the race, these new horses, into it.
Yeah, look, it is interesting sort of having these three internationals in there this year. Rev Duval looking probably a bit more like a stayer. He's more sort of 2,000, possibly 2,400 metre horse. She's also got Laura Ravinderseeds, who, in my opinion, probably looks the best of the imported runners. Won a sort of 600k Deauville 1,400 metre race, a couple of starts back. The information I've got on the 3 imports, though, is they probably all would prefer the sting out of the ground. So I think the big concern with all 3 of them is just that it's going to be a rock-hard track. And there were some imports in this race 2 years ago, and they all flopped. They're sort of those early Northern Hemisphere 3-year-olds, and it's not a sort of staying race. So as much as I'm usually very keen on the imports in this race on Saturday, I'm probably going to take a set against them.
What are your thoughts on those 3, Brad?
Yeah, I think that's fair enough, the points that Dean makes. I guess Beat Le Bon ran a handy enough race in year 1 behind Colding. I think he ran 6th off the top of my head, and it was a pretty deep race. And you could say that these imports certainly are better credentialed than him. I don't think the barrier drawers do them any favour. The only one that's drawn half a decent marble is Rev Duval, and although he will be strong late, as Dean pointed out, he's more of a middle distance type horse, and off his profile, albeit lightly racing his best is still ahead of him, he's still at that listed Group 3 level. So how that measures up here, I guess we'll see. But yeah, at this stage, I am inclined to take them on. I really liked them a couple of weeks ago, but I'm just getting colder and colder as this day gets closer.
They watered yesterday, 31 again today out in Sydney at Rose Hill, so it'll be interesting to see if they do a bit more. It's going to be cooler Saturday. It'll drop in temperature, but not a lot of rain around, if anything. So, Brad, give us your view. What are you putting on top in the Golden Eagle?
I've got Ellsberg on top, and I do note that there's been a bit of support when you quoted the prices there before, Andrew. He's into single-figure odds, it's hard to deny that this horse's probably two best runs in his career have both come over the Rosehill 1,500 metres. So he's playing at home for Gerald Ryan. Sterling Electio, I thought he was very good in the Silver Eagle. Typically, that's probably your second tier of 4-year-olds, and I do concede that, but he was 1,400 metres back to 1,300 metres. They've been a little bit more conservative on him this prep, just teaching him to settle, drawn the one. He's just going to get every chance. He can land into a gun spot, a firm deck. I don't think you want to be out the back, and a few of his dangers are going to be giving him a big head start, your own Thunderstrucks and your Private Eyes. So I just think he sets up to run up to his best, and if he does, he's very hard to beat. I've got Apache Chase as the big danger. It's a similar case for him. He's going to be a horse that's going to be making his own luck. He probably parks outside of the leader. He's got form around all the right horses, including Private Eye. Took a wet track in a mile there in Queensland for Private Eye to gun him down. I think this is an even better setup for Apache Chase. That's no knock on the likes of Private Eye and Thunderstruck in terms of the talent. It's just whether they're going to be giving away an impossible start. I think of the two that can run well at odds, Count de Rupee and Love Tap, just on that map, they're going to get every possible run and every possible chance. And I think Love Tap is a horse that's capable on his day, and I think a good pressure race certainly plays into his strength. So maybe he's a little bit of a roughie to include in your multiples, but Ellsberg is the horse to beat for me.
Love Tap at the moment, $41 and $10 the place at Bet365. So your view on the race, Dean, and then we'll discuss a few others that you guys haven't mentioned. So what are you putting on top?
Look, I've got Private Eye as the one to beat. He's just flying this prep. The Epsom Handicap win was really impressive. Obviously, we need to see how the track's playing. They're going to need to be able to swoop from the wide gate, but just the way that this race plays out, it's a capacity field, and you've got a lot of speed there with the likes of, Ellsberg and Apache Chase and Vangelic. So it should be a reasonable tempo. I think he's the one to beat if they can swoop. If they can't, I'm quite keen on Vangelic at sort of big odds, She's had 2 starts with track distance range for a win in the Group 2 Golden Pendant. She was very unlucky for us in the Coolmore Classic. She could have won that also. And she does have the ability to win this at odds. Sunlight ran well on pace in this race, so it certainly can be done. And the other I thought at really big odds was AIM. He was just very impressive winning the Silver Eagle first up. He rounded a lot of these up. He won the Magic Million 3-year-old by 2 lengths earlier in the year in similar style. He just loves dry tracks. And it's hard to believe that he's $41 in a race like this.
Yep, AIM juicy odds. Vangelic at about $26. Dean, always. You love looking at the markets too, Dean. That's a key player for you at Winning Edge, that you try and find that value.
Well, I think you have to, and certainly in an open race like this, you've just got to find where the opportunities are, and I just don't think you can be taking sort of short odds in a race like this unless everything sort of goes to plan and ties up. And a horse like Thunderstruck, he's $4 favourite. It's sort of his first run, the Sydney way of going. There's no doubt he's been impressive in the 2 Group 1s this prep. He's had light weights. He won a 2-rack last start with a strong finish. He's got plenty of ability, but sort of down the weights and what aren't the sort of premier Group 1 races. He's got to run the Sydney way of going the first time, and I just think there's opportunities with some very high quality horses. You talk about horses like AIM and Vangelic that are, I think they're Group 1 level horses. And when you're getting sort of $26 and $41 about them, in an open race where plenty of horses are going to, find bad luck, and it's just a good betting opportunity.
Brad, you mentioned I'm Thunderstruck. It's favourite at $4.20. You've mentioned what you like. What are you thinking around Thunderstruck?
Well, he's certainly drawn the right marble, but it does come back to price, doesn't it? Whether you want to be chiming in at $4, I think we might even get a little bit better on the day. Maybe there will be some inclination from the bookies to risk him to some extent. It's no knock on his talent. What he's done today has been fantastic, and he just keeps getting better and better every time we see him. He's got a big finish. He should park just midfield somewhere just off, which certainly gives him his chance. But it just comes back down to price, pure and simple.
We saw Agon, Brad, win the Hobartville first up earlier this year. It was softish ground. I think on that day he let down like a really good horse. Does the barrier just rule him out?
Yeah, it certainly doesn't help. He's a hard one to get a handle on, isn't he? I'm thinking maybe he prefers just the jar out of the ground. Obviously, that win in the Hobartville was on soft ground, and that saw him jump, $2.50 favourite in the Randwick Guinea. So you certainly have to respect that SP. He was good there in the Memsey. Didn't have much luck behind Behemoth. And then the market did gravitate towards him in the Maccabi Diva, where he started a single finger chance against the likes of Incentivised and Mwanga, and he loomed into the race like he was going to do something. But he just stopped very, very quickly. I imagine the team there, Murray Baker and Andrew Forsman, were left scratching their heads a little bit, but they took him home. They freshened him up, and obviously he's showing them all the right signs to bring him back for a tilt at this. So I think he has got some level of talent, but he's just very hard to trust.
$31 and 8th the place at the moment in that race. So running through the boys' thoughts in regard to the Golden Eagle, Brad Gray likes Ellsberg 9 over 4 Apache Chase, and then numbers 10 and 11 at bigger odds, while Dean likes, at this stage he's playing a few, but Private Eye, Vangelic and Aim are ones that he's mentioned, 1, 16 and 6. Brad, the Four Pillars, the other big race, it's a good card, no doubt about that. The strength of Sydney and Melbourne racing is bringing a lot of eyes to racing, and that's the main thing for mine. Go and enjoy it, and we'll chat again.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew, and thanks, Dean.
Brad Gray joining us there from Racing New South Wales. So, Dean, let's look at Flemington. The Group 1s, we'll do it in racebook order, mate. That'll save any confusion. The first of the Group 1s is the, I'm now hesitating, is the Empire Rose. I was looking to see where the Coolmore was. I got frightened by myself. So the Empire Rose. Does Colette let down with a little bit of rain going into Saturday?
Well, I think that's the big question. I think it's just whether it is going to rain. Every time I look at the forecast, it tells me something different, sort of 0 to 4 millimetres. So I just don't know if it's going to rain enough. But I think it's pretty simple with her. You know, if it's sort of soft 6 or worse, which I don't think it's going to get to, then she's right in it. If it's a bone-dry track, then, you know, I think you probably have to bet around her.
$7 right now, behind the favourite Tofane at $3.60. What are your thoughts?
Look, it's an interesting race. Usually, most of the winners come third or fourth up, apart from the 3-year-olds, but there's no 3-year-olds in it. So usually third or fourth up off of a 14 or 21-day break. Really interesting fact about this race, it's sort of weight for age mile. All the winners have been from barrier 9 or out. The inside draws really struggle. In fact, even the Quinella in the last 10 years, so a total of 20 horses, only 3 have managed to run second drawn inside barrier 7. So they sort of spin around, and the ones on the fence often just get cluttered up, and it's really hard for them to win. So you sort of look at the market, and you've got horses like Mystic Journey, Tofane, Still a Star, even Amaralina, all in the market and all drawn inside. So I think there's a betting opportunity for some of the ones who are just going to be swooping in it out wide. I actually quite like down the bottom Steinem. She ran 4th, beaten less than a length, just had a 3rd start at Group 3 level. Second up, she's run second to Colette in the Group 2 Tristarc Stakes. That was only her 4th career start. She's lightly raced. She's got a really strong trainer-jockey combo. She's about $26, and I just think she's just perfectly drawn to sort of swoop into it, and she can absolutely win this race on the profile.
As you say, yeah, barrier 14, $31 right now at Bet365 is Steinem, the 15, and you're right, Mar Eustace and Jai McNeil.
Yeah, look, it's a really good combo on the horse. I think they've got a lot of faith and belief in. You know, she was hot favourite for sort of the Group 3 and Group 1 in Adelaide. And she ran really well in the Group 3, and she sort of come back really well running second to Colette. So I just think she sort of profiles really nicely. And what's interesting is, you know, that Morphettville and Adelaide 3-year-old filly sort of form has really held up, because she was sort of running and beating the likes of Cyrileo Miss and Flying Mascot, who were also in this race. And Cyrileo Miss has sort of won 3 in a row, including a key lead-up, and Flying Mascot bolted in the Tessio. So the form all really lines up.
Let's look at the Penfolds Victoria Derby. Forgot You is at $4.20. Gunstock now at Bet365 is the favourite at $4, and a Totsu at $7. What's your overview on the Classic?
Look, I think the key with the Derby is you've got to be fit. Only one horse has won this race, you know, only 3rd or 4th up, and that was last year's winner, but they ran 37 lengths lower for the first 600 metres, so it was just a walkathon last year. Apart from that, you need at least 5 runs in the prep, and that actually knocks out, you know, a lot of the key charges, including Tutakaka and Gunstock. I think Forgot You, he's clearly the one to beat. He came from well back for 6 in the Caulfield Guineas. He won the Vars. He's sort of 6th up here with a really strong fitness base, and he's the one to beat, I think. The Legron's a key danger. He was a good 4th in the Gloaming and then 3rd in the Spring Champion. 5th up here for Cummings, and that's just always a really good profile for this race. And I thought the best roughie was probably Jungle Magnate, who was 2nd in the Hill Smith, and then came from a long way back. It was a fair way back last in the Vars, and really hit the line well for 3rd. Just behind Forgot You, and I think sort of 20-1. He's one that I think can stay, and is a good roughie.
We spoke with James Cummings earlier about the Coolmore. He said this has got as much relevance as the Golden Slipper, that he hopes that the Victoria Racing Club know what they've got with this race. At the moment, Artorias at $9.50. In the Congo, the Rose winner at $4.60. Palele at $7.50, Extreme Warrior now $4.20, and holding on to favouritism. Is it the Melbourne form through the favourite Extreme Warrior, or is it the Golden Rose form?
Look, it's a very open race, this one. It's hard to sort of narrow them down. I'm cheering in the Congo. We did back them at $51 in futures, and we've sort of been cheering them home all spring, winning the Golden Rose. The Golden Rose has proven to be a superior form line from this race year after year. So I think, in the Congo is going to be very, very hard to beat. But, you've got to give chances to, if Artorias coming back from a mile can win. James, as you mentioned, he's got both Paul Lowell, who rates pretty well alongside sort of in the Congo, and the 2 times they've met and gets a weight drop on those runs. Kalos, who won as well. And one interesting fact, the last 3 years, the winners actually come out of the 1,000-metre jump out from, a week ago. And the main ones in that jump out were in the Congo Ranch Hand, who actually jumped out really well and, did win 2 starts back down the straight and up Poseidon, which was a race at September 1 run before winning this. And even Sort of State, who won that jump out. And, Jamie Richards has an outstanding record in the big races here. And he's sort of just been struggling to get this horse fit, but, if it's ready to go, it's a roughie, but look, it's a wide open race, Andrew.
It is, but I can hear the drums are beating for In the Congo to be hopefully winning for you. The last of the Group 1s is the Kennedy Cantala on Saturday. Right now, looking at it, Superstorm 11, Riadini, Buffalo River at 10, Arameo 9, Ice Bath from a Wide Barrier 10. What have we got? Charlotte at $8, and then Mr. Brightside. Can the rise continue into a Group 1 off where it started, this sequence of wins? It's $4.40 at the moment.
Yeah, look at an amazing run. He won 6 in a row. His ratings have been spiralling upwards. Won the Seymour Cup by 2 lengths. He ran sort of +8 the last 600, second quickest of the day. From a historical profiling perspective, he faces a number of challenges. He's 8th up, which isn't ideal. He's deep in the prep. He's only had 8 career starts. He's coming off a listed win, which nothing's done to win this Group 1. And interestingly, SP of winners, 9 of the 10 have been between sort of $8 and $17. You can see why he's favourite, but I have to bet around him. And I think there's 2 really key chances that I'm keen on in this race. The first is Arameo. Ran a slashing second to Zaki, first up on the tramway. He ran past some very good horses. Then he was 3rd in the Bill Ritchie against the Bias. And, they beat a nose in the Excellent Handicap, which was a real shame for us for being held up on the straight. But he's a multiple Group 1 winner in Singapore. Chris Waller's won this race for the last 10 years, and he gets a really, really big jockey upgrade with Glenn Boss here. So I think Arameo is one of the ones to beat, and the danger is Superstorm, who's just a class animal. 2nd in the Australian Guineas and All-Star Mile last year. He won the Group 2 Fiam with 3 wide in the Underwood, went 3rd to Zaki, and then really flew home in the 2 rank with a big weight. So I think I've got those 2 as really strong chances at sort of $11 and $10.
Yes, Damien Oliver back on Tuesday, main gallop morning, saying that Superstorm is dead set just going to appreciate the big, spacious Flemington track more than what he's probably been racing on at Caulfield. So it's been a name for Bob Peters to run in this race for sure. So running through them, race 5, Steinem, the bottom one, number 15. In race 6, Forgot You, Allegro, Jungle Magnate at a bit of value. Race 7, very hard, the Coolmore, but he's all over, Dean. He's all over in the Congo for many weeks. And the Cantala, it's Arameo, the 6, and Superstorm, the 3. Dean, thanks very much for joining us this morning. Of course, winningedgeinvestments.com. Tips and ratings from professional punters throughout the spring racing carnival. Gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858. Dean, enjoy the weekend.
You too, Andrew. Going to be an absolutely fantastic Saturday. We can't wait.
Yeah, bring it on. Dean Evans from winningedgeinvestments.com. And don't forget, Winners comes from Flemington Saturday morning.